So, this video, I want to get right into. It's complicated, it's not complicated, it's actually quite easy, and it has to do with your favorite SCENTERTAINERS. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and right before we get into this video, listen, if you've enjoyed all the content that I've been creating and that my wonderful partner Melanie has been creating on this channel, which is quite diverse, has different topics that we talk about and discuss, if you do love that content and you do find the content entertaining and enjoyable and informative, please feel free to go right ahead right now before the video even starts and click that subscribe button. Also, if you do love the video, then give it a like at the end. Why? Because by doing this, you are going to help us defeat this weird YouTube algorithm. So rolling right into this topic. This topic, which has to do with your favorite SCENTERTAINERS. I hope I'm one of them or close to the top of that list. But this is what these particular SCENTERTAINERS have convinced me to go out and buy. So these are 5 fragrances YouTube made me buy. So the first SCENTERTAINER that I'm going to mention here turned me on to Layton by Parfums de Marly. Now, the SCENTERTAINER that turned me on to this fragrance is from the channel Brooklyn Fragrance Lover, BFL. I love this channel. I love the reviews that Carlos does, and I want to say that I was on the fence about buying this, and I had seen many other reviews from other reviewers, not to take away from their reviews. They were amazing reviews, but what really tipped the scale for me was his particular episode that he did with Demi Rawlings, where they went through some Parfums de Marly fragrances, and both of their feedback turned me on to wanting to buy this officially. And man, I do not regret it. This is a phenomenal fragrance. I love it. It is very niche, but with a designer-esque touch to it. Also, it is compared a lot to Armani Code Absolute. I can see where the comparisons come from. However, this does have its own edge, its own beautiful signature to it. That cardamom, apple, bergamot, lavender that just play very well together and give it such a beautiful, beautiful touch. So I will say this was purchased because of their sheer enthusiasm for this fragrance. Now, this next SCENTERTAINER turned me on to Moschino's Toy Boy. Now, I did a review on this fragrance, which I will link down below, but this fragrance is amazing. And the person that turned me on to this was none other than Steve from Adolescence. And I was watching this video, but I was more taken back at how he was taken back as to how cool and original this fragrance is. It also seems like Steve is not really ever surprised much about certain things that he smells, even though he likes them or loves them, but he's always got a very even keel demeanor about him, which I like, a very educator's perspective on fragrances. But his take on this was very interesting because he was so surprised as to how well blended and original and polarizing that this fragrance is. So in short, thank you, Steve. You've turned me on to a great fragrance, and this is very versatile. It can be used all year long. As I said, you can adjust the sprays to the temperature that you're going to be in, but this is a very versatile fragrance. This can be used dressed up and casual. So the next SCENTERTAINER I'm going to talk about introduced me to this amazing Creed clone of Millésime Imperial. It is none other than Armand's Milestone. So the SCENTERTAINER that turned me on to this beauty is none other than the SCENTERTAINER Cubano. From one Cuban to another, thank you. I appreciate your good review on this. And let's face it, any fragrance that Cubano talks about is usually pretty entertaining to the max. So you can understand that when he reviewed this, it had sort of a great impact on me buying this. I mean, first off, I love Millésime Imperial, period. I love it. That's like one of my favorite creeds, as it is a very polarizing fragrance. And because it was this beautifully polarizing scent, Armand gets so much credit for doing such a great clone of it. This clone is 98.8888% similar to Millésime Imperial by Creed. Although, in my opinion, this is the superior clone to Millésime Imperial. There are a few others on the market. I won't mention them or give them any love because I love this one and think this one has the best resemblance to Millésime Imperial. And it has amazing performance. So it's got beast mode longevity and above average projection. Sign me up. 12 plus hours on my skin. That's a winner. So thank you, Cuba. Thank you. Before I reveal this SCENTERTAINER, Dior Sauvage. Now, I don't think there's another YouTuber in the world that mentioned this fragrance more than, you guessed it, Jeremy fragrance. But what really had me convinced to buy it and also laughing hysterically was when he did the episode where he was in Miami visiting the Versailles mansion and he took a bottle of Dior Sauvage with him, and the Miami humidity, holla, tore his bottle up. It literally peeled all this blue cellophane off of his bottle, which is pretty hilarious. So like I said, because he mentioned this so many times, I had to buy a bottle. I just had to buy a bottle. Didn't matter what other reviewers said. It's how many times he's mentioned this in videos. Not only that, it's Dior. And Dior, it's really hard to go wrong with Dior. And guess what? I never looked back. Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate it. And so the next and last fragrance that YouTube forced me to buy, Maison Martin Margiela's Replicas Music Festival. So the SCENTERTAINER that turned me on to this was none other than BBB, or Big Beard Business. Now this SCENTERTAINER is particularly very unique and is always on point with his beard and his flawless black t-shirts, especially when he pointed out to not be pulled over by police while wearing this fragrance, as it has a cannabis note. Now obviously it was a joke and it made me want to buy this even more, and I do not regret it. I love this fragrance and there's nothing else to say. Alright guys, thank you so much for checking out my latest videos. And although I mentioned all these SCENTERTAINERs that had a big impact on me buying fragrances, I do encourage you to check these fragrances out by buying samples before blind buying. I blind buy because I'm a crazy person and I love fragrances. If you don't want to take that risk, just buy samples of the fragrances that I mentioned or any other SCENTERTAINER that you listen to and see the fragrances that they recommend. That way you don't feel like you've been had. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you all on the next video. Do it. I'm telling you, they made me do it. Y'all know who you are. You made me do this.